Welcome to Limitless Success TV, where we unlock the secrets to success, wealth, and personal growth. Today, I want you to take a deep breath, silence the noise around you, and truly listen, because what I'm about to share with you has the power to change the way you move through life, forever. Have you ever noticed that the loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest? They talk the most, demand the most attention, and constantly seek validation. They want to prove something, to themselves, to others, to the world. But if you look closely, you'll realize that true power doesn't come from making noise. It comes from knowing when to be silent. The people who truly succeed, the leaders, the visionaries, the ones who command respect without ever having to ask for it, aren't the ones shouting for attention. They aren't broadcasting their every move or explaining themselves to people who don't matter. They're the ones who move in silence, who let their actions speak louder than words, and who understand a simple but powerful truth. The less you speak, the more you observe, and the more you observe, the more you control. Because here's the reality. Life will give you exactly what you need at the right time, but only if you let it. Only if you have the patience to be still, the discipline to resist the urge to force things, and the wisdom to recognize that chasing, begging, and over-explaining will never bring you what you truly desire. Think about it. How many times have you tried to chase something, success, money, love, only to feel it slip further and further away? How many times have you talked yourself into a bad situation, over-explained yourself to people who never cared to understand you, or wasted energy proving your worth to someone who never truly valued you in the first place? And yet, the moment you stop chasing, when you step back, regain your power, and focus on becoming rather than proving, that's when everything starts to align. That's when opportunities find you. The right people stay, and the wrong ones remove themselves. That's when you stop needing validation and start attracting real success. Silence is power, not just the absence of words, but the presence of awareness. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop defending your actions, when you stop wasting breath on people who don't deserve your energy, you take back control. You begin to hear not just the words being spoken, but the unspoken intentions behind them. You see the real motives behind people's actions. You recognize the subtle shifts in energy, the truth behind the noise, and the patterns that most people are too distracted to notice. The world is filled with people who fear silence. They talk because they can't sit with themselves. They speak because they're afraid of being forgotten. They make noise because they think being loud makes them important. But the most powerful people, the ones who win in life, aren't the ones who talk the most. They're the ones who understand the value of patience, the strength of observation, and the power of restraint. So today, I challenge you to embrace the power of silence. To stop chasing, stop over-explaining, and start moving differently. Because when you learn to be still, when you learn to trust the process, when you learn to let life come to you instead of forcing it, that's when everything changes. And if you're ready to step into that power, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why silence is the greatest tool you'll ever have in your journey to success. Let's begin. Part 1. The weight of your words. Think about the people who truly shape the world, the leaders, the innovators, the game changers, the ones who command respect not because they demand it, but because they embody it. They walk into a room and immediately shift the energy, not with noise, not with flashy words, but with sheer presence. Their words are chosen carefully. Their actions speak louder than anything they could say. And when they do speak, every word holds weight. What gives their words such impact? It's not volume. It's not charisma alone. It's experience. It's wisdom. It's intention. The power of their words comes from the fact that they don't speak just to be heard. They speak because they have something worth saying. Now, contrast that with the people who constantly seek attention, the ones who always have something to prove, always trying to validate their importance. They dominate conversations. They interrupt others. They fill every silence with empty words. But here's the thing. The more someone talks, the less people actually listen. Because deep down, we all know that real power, real influence, doesn't come from talking, it comes from understanding. The moment you stop feeling the need to explain yourself to everyone, you take back control. You free yourself from the exhausting cycle of proving, convincing, and defending. Instead, you start listening, not just to what people are saying, but to what they aren't saying. You begin to notice the subtle shifts in energy, The real motives behind people's actions. The way body language reveals more truth than words ever could. Take a look at some of the most powerful figures in history: Barack Obama, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett. None of them are known for being the loudest in the room. They are strategic. They choose their words wisely. They listen before they speak. And when they do speak, people pay attention. One of the greatest examples of this is Steve Jobs. He wasn't the most talkative person in the room, but when he spoke, people listened. Why? Because he had already listened first. He mastered the art of observation, understanding what people needed before they even realized it themselves. He built a company that revolutionized technology, not by making the most noise, but by moving with precision. His silence wasn't emptiness, it was power. He used it to read the room, analyze situations, and make calculated decisions that changed the world. And this principle doesn't just apply to business or leadership, it applies to life. When you learn to listen more than you speak, you gain an edge that most people never will. You pick up on unspoken tensions in a conversation. You sense when someone is being dishonest. You notice opportunities before they become obvious to everyone else. Look at Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time. He doesn't chase trends. He doesn't react impulsively to market hype. He observes, he studies, he listens, and then he moves only when the time is right. His entire investment philosophy is based on patience, understanding, and the power of waiting for the right moment. Most people don't have this level of control. They react emotionally. They speak without thinking. They reveal their plans before they're fully formed. And in doing so, they lose their advantage. Here's a truth that most people don't want to admit. The more you reveal, the weaker you become. When you constantly explain yourself, when you overshare your thoughts, when you let people into your every move, you give them power over you. You give them the opportunity to question you, to plant doubt, to manipulate your vision. But when you hold back, when you choose your words carefully, when you move with quiet confidence, you become unshakable. You make people curious. You create mystery. And mystery is powerful, because what people don't know, they can't control. This is why some of the most successful and influential people in the world operate in silence. They build in silence. They plan in silence. And when they finally make a move, it's undeniable. The results speak for themselves. So, ask yourself, are you using your words wisely? Or are you wasting them on people who don't deserve your energy? Next time you're in a conversation, don't rush to fill the silence. Don't be the person who needs to be heard just for the sake of it. Instead, be the one who listens, who observes, who understands, because in that understanding lies your greatest strength. And in that strength lies your greatest power. Part 2. Why most people fear silence. Most people can't handle silence. The moment there's a pause in conversation, they feel the need to fill it. They talk not because they have something meaningful to say, but because they fear being overlooked, ignored, or forgotten. They associate silence with weakness, with a lack of presence, with insignificance. But in reality, it's not silence that makes you invisible, it's noise. Think about it. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most respected. They talk the most. They interrupt the most. They demand the most attention. But do they command respect? Or do people simply tolerate their noise, waiting for them to finally stop talking? True strength doesn't come from how much you say. It comes from what you do when it matters. It's about restraint. It's about knowing when to speak and when to hold back. It's about choosing impact over volume. Most people who talk excessively do so out of insecurity. They reveal their weaknesses without even realizing it. They share too much, too soon. They announce their plans before they've even begun executing them. They expose their fears, their doubts, their need for validation, and in doing so, they hand over their power. But the person who knows how to stay quiet, the one who listens more than they speak, the one who observes, who reads between the lines, who allows others to reveal themselves first, that is the person who always stays ahead. Silence makes people uncomfortable because it forces them to confront their own thoughts. That's why so many people avoid being alone in silence. They drown themselves in distractions, social media, meaningless conversations, constant entertainment, because they don't want to sit with their own minds. But those who can master silence, who can embrace the stillness, who can operate without the need for constant external stimulation, they are the ones who hold the real power. Look at the greatest strategists in history, business moguls, military leaders, world-class investors. They don't announce their next move before they make it. They don't expose their weaknesses for the world to see. They wait, they watch, they analyze, and when the time is right, they execute with precision. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors of all time, doesn't jump into trends. He doesn't react impulsively to the market like most amateur investors do. Instead, he studies, he listens, and he moves only when the time is right. That's why he's been able to build his fortune while so many others panic and lose everything. The same principle applies to chess. The best chess players in the world don't make reckless moves. They don't rush. They sit in silence, reading the board, analyzing every possible outcome, anticipating their opponent's strategy. They don't announce their plans. They don't give away their next move. And that's precisely why they win. Now, think about how this applies to everyday life. The ones who talk too much, who reveal everything they think and feel at all times, who constantly seek validation, they lose before they even start. They expose their plans before they execute them, leaving themselves open to doubt, criticism, and sabotage. But the one who moves in silence, the one who observes first, who waits for the right moment, that's the one who always wins. Consider Elon Musk. He doesn't waste time arguing with people who don't believe in him. He doesn't try to convince the world that his ideas will work. He simply executes. While others debate, doubt, and criticize, he moves forward, building, innovating, disrupting industries. And by the time people realize what he's done, it's already too late. The work is complete. The results speak for themselves. That's what real power looks like. It's not about how loud you are. It's about how strategic you are. Look at the world's most respected leaders, Barack Obama, Jeff Bezos, even historical figures like Julius Caesar. They didn't need to shout to command attention. They spoke with purpose. When they entered a room, people listened, not because they demanded attention, but because their presence carried weight. Most people fear silence because they think it makes them look weak. But weakness is in reacting impulsively, in over-explaining, in seeking approval. The strongest person in any situation is the one who controls themselves. The one who listens more than they speak. The one who moves with purpose, not desperation. So the next time you feel the urge to fill the silence, to explain yourself, to prove something, pause. Ask yourself, is this necessary? Is this the best use of my energy? Or am I simply afraid of being overlooked? Because the truth is, power doesn't chase, it attracts. And the ones who can handle silence, who can move strategically, who don't need to prove themselves to everyone, those are the ones who always win. Part 3. Let people reveal themselves. Silence is one of the most powerful tools you will ever have in life. It is not just the absence of words, it is a strategy. A weapon, a shield. It allows you to see the truth without interference, to observe without bias, to understand people at their core, without needing them to explain themselves. Because the truth is, you don't need to ask someone who they are. If you watch closely, they will show you. Most people go through life desperate for clarity. They ask questions, seek validation, demand explanations, wanting to know if someone is loyal, if someone respects them, if someone is truly in their corner. But here's the secret. You never need to ask. You only need to watch. A person's true nature is always revealed, not in what they say, but in what they do. Think about it. If someone is truly loyal to you, do you need to force them to prove it? If someone genuinely respects you, do you have to beg them to treat you with dignity? Of course not. People who are meant to be in your life, whether in business, friendship, or relationships, will show up for you without being asked. But most people miss these signs because they're too busy talking, explaining, or making excuses for those who never deserved their energy in the first place. And that's where silence becomes your greatest advantage. When you stop over-explaining yourself. When you stop trying to convince people to see your worth. When you step back and simply observe. You allow people to reveal themselves. You see who stays when you're no longer giving. You notice who respects you even when you're not seeking their approval. You watch who disappears when you stop entertaining them. Look at Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors of all time. He doesn't waste time debating his decisions. He doesn't try to convince others to believe in his strategies. He simply executes, moves in silence, and lets his results speak for themselves. And in doing so, he allows people to reveal their true understanding, or lack thereof, of his vision. Those who doubted him, they fell behind. Those who trusted him, they benefited. The lesson? When you remove the need to explain yourself, you filter out the people who were never meant to stay. The right people will understand your value without you having to justify it. The wrong ones will fade away, because they were never truly invested in you to begin with. This is why some of the most powerful people in the world operate in silence. Jeff Bezos didn't announce his entire vision for Amazon on day one. He built quietly, moved strategically, and let the world see the results when they were undeniable. Elon Musk doesn't waste time arguing with doubters. He simply works, innovates, and delivers. And by the time people realize what he's done, he's already 10 steps ahead. The same principle applies to your life. Whether it's in your career, your relationships, or your personal growth, the moment you stop explaining yourself, you gain control. You free yourself from the exhausting cycle of trying to prove something to people who were never meant to see your value. Think about the last time you had to explain why you made a certain decision. Maybe you chose to walk away from a toxic friendship. Maybe you decided to start a new business, quit a stable job, or take a risk that others didn't understand. The moment you start explaining, people begin to question you. They project their own fears onto you. They make you second-guess yourself. But when you move in silence, when you simply make your decisions and stand by them, that's when you take back control of your own narrative. Silence is not weakness, it is strength. It creates space for truth to emerge. It forces people to reveal where they really stand. It eliminates distractions and allows you to focus on what truly matters. This is why some of the most influential people in the world don't waste energy arguing, debating, or defending their every move. They know that time spent explaining is time taken away from execution. So, the next time you find yourself wanting to justify your actions, wanting to prove your worth, wanting to make someone understand, pause, take a step back, let your silence do the work. Because in that silence, you will find all the answers you were looking for. And most importantly, you will find the people who were truly meant to walk this journey with you. Part 4. The energy shift. When you stop chasing, everything comes to you. Have you ever noticed that the more you chase something, the further it seems to run away? The more you try to hold on to a relationship, the more distant the other person becomes. The harder you try to force success, the more elusive it seems. The more desperately you seek money, the harder it is to earn. This isn't a coincidence. This is energy at work. When you chase, you send out a signal to the world. I don't have enough. You operate from a mindset of scarcity, from a place of desperation. And desperation is repelling. People can feel it. Opportunities can sense it. Success avoids those who are too eager, too forceful, too desperate, because that energy screams lack. But the moment you shift, the moment you stop chasing, step back, and start becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts what they want, that's when everything changes. Think about the most successful people in the world. Do they run after opportunities, begging for attention? No. They attract. They focus on improving themselves, on mastering their craft, on becoming so valuable that success, wealth, and relationships naturally gravitate toward them. Take Oprah Winfrey as an example. She didn't chase fame. She didn't beg for a seat at the table. She spent years refining her skills, mastering the art of storytelling, and bringing immense value to the world. And because of that, opportunities found her. Success sought her out. People wanted to work with her, not because she asked, but because she was undeniably great at what she did. The same applies to Elon Musk. He didn't chase investors for Tesla or SpaceX. He simply built something so groundbreaking, so irreplaceable, that investors came knocking. The world pays attention to those who create, not those who beg. So the question is, are you chasing, or are you becoming? Most people operate in the mode of chasing. They chase money, believing that the harder they run after it, the faster it will come. But the reality? The richest people in the world don't chase money. They attract it. They become so skilled, so knowledgeable, so valuable that money becomes a byproduct of who they are. Look at Jeff Bezos. He didn't start Amazon by chasing money. He built something people needed. He focused on creating an ecosystem that was so convenient, so powerful, that money flowed effortlessly to him. He attracted billions, not by demanding them, but by creating irresistible value. The same principle applies to relationships. Have you ever noticed that when someone desperately wants love, it seems to evade them? But the moment they stop trying so hard, start focusing on their own happiness, their own personal growth, suddenly, the right people appear. That's because chasing is rooted in fear. The fear of missing out. The fear of not being enough. The fear of being alone. But when you operate from a place of confidence, when you know your worth, when you step into your best self, people can't help but be drawn to you. This applies to networking, business, friendships, even dating. The ones who attract are the ones who don't need. They are self-sufficient. They don't demand attention, they command it. Think of Leonardo DiCaprio. He doesn't chase roles in Hollywood. He doesn't audition frantically, hoping to land a part. Directors and producers seek him out. Why? Because his work speaks for itself. He has become so skilled, so legendary, that opportunities flow to him effortlessly. So how do you shift from chasing to attracting? It starts with internal transformation. Instead of running after things, you become the kind of person who naturally draws them in. If you want wealth, don't chase money. Chase skill, knowledge, and discipline. When you master a craft, when you become the best at what you do, money follows. If you want success, don't chase opportunities. Chase excellence. When you do your work with such precision, such dedication, people will seek you out. If you want deep relationships, don't chase people. Chase growth, confidence, and self-respect. When you are truly comfortable in your own skin, you won't need to beg for attention. The right people will naturally want to be in your life. This is why the most powerful people in the world move differently. They don't announce their plans. They don't beg for approval. They work in silence, improve daily, and allow their results to speak for them. And when you start living this way, something incredible happens. Everything that once seemed so far away begins to come to you effortlessly. Success, money, relationships, opportunities, they start appearing, not because you chased them, but because you became the person who deserved them. So ask yourself today, are you chasing, or are you attracting? Because the second you shift your focus from desperation to mastery, from proving to becoming, from seeking to being, that's the moment your entire life transforms. Part 5. Silence protects your dreams. Not everyone deserves to know your plans. Not everyone should have access to your vision, your energy, or your ambitions. The reality is, the bigger your dreams, the more you need to protect them. Not because they are fragile, but because they are valuable. And anything valuable needs to be guarded. Too many people fail, not because they lack talent, intelligence, or ambition, but because they talk too soon. They reveal their goals to the wrong people. They share their dreams before they've even built a solid foundation. And when they do, doubt creeps in. Negative voices begin to echo in their minds. They start questioning themselves, losing momentum, and eventually abandoning what could have been their greatest achievement. The truth is, the most powerful moves in life happen in silence. The most successful people don't broadcast their every step. They don't seek applause for ideas that haven't materialized yet. They understand that talking about a goal is not the same as achieving it. In fact, the more you talk, the more you trick yourself into believing you've already accomplished something, and that false sense of progress can kill your drive. Steve Harvey once said, "Don't tell your big dreams to small-minded people." And that is one of the most valuable lessons you will ever learn. Because the moment you share your ambitions, you open the door to judgment. Some people will pretend to support you while secretly hoping you fail. Others will project their own fears onto you, saying things like, "That's too risky," or, "Do you really think you can do that?" And if you're not careful, their doubts become your doubts. Their fears become your fears. Their limitations become the prison that holds you back. Look at some of the most successful people in the world. Jeff Bezos didn't announce Amazon to the world when it was just an idea. He worked on it quietly, building in the background before the world even knew his name. Elon Musk doesn't spend his time defending his vision to doubters. He simply executes. By the time people realize what he's done, it's too late. He's already 10 steps ahead. One of the greatest examples of this is Michael Jordan. When he was cut from his high school basketball team, he didn't go around complaining. He didn't seek validation from others. He didn't let that failure define him. Instead, he used the rejection as fuel. He practiced in silence. He worked harder than anyone else, without broadcasting it to the world. And when the time was right, He showed everyone what he was capable of, not through words, but through results. Silence is power. It keeps you focused. It protects you from unnecessary negativity. It shields your vision from those who lack the ability to see beyond their own limitations. Think about how many dreams have died because someone spoke too soon. How many people got excited about an idea, shared it with the wrong crowd, and suddenly felt discouraged? Maybe it was a business they wanted to start, a creative project, a new career path, but instead of protecting that vision, they let the world in too early. They let the wrong opinions shape their confidence. And before they even took the first real step, they gave up. This is why some of the most legendary figures in history were masters of quiet execution. Jay-Z didn't announce every move before he made it. He built his empire strategically, silently, making moves behind the scenes until his success spoke for itself. LeBron James doesn't need to talk about how great he is. He shows it on the court. The lesson? Move in silence. Let success make the noise. Not everyone is rooting for you. Some people will actively try to plant seeds of doubt in your mind, not because they're smarter than you, but because they're afraid of what you might become. Some people will discourage you, not because they genuinely care, but because they don't want to see you rise above them. And then there are those who simply won't understand your vision. And that's okay, because your dream isn't meant for everyone to understand. It's meant for you to build. Have you ever noticed that when you stop explaining yourself, people start becoming more curious? When you stop announcing your every move, people start wondering what you're up to? That's because silence creates mystery. And mystery is powerful. When you keep your plans to yourself, you maintain control. You don't have to waste time defending your ideas. You don't have to deal with unnecessary negativity. You don't have to justify your ambitions to people who have no business questioning them in the first place. And most importantly, you don't give people the chance to interfere. Think about how many times you've seen someone get excited about a new idea, share it with the wrong people, and then suddenly, they're filled with doubt. They start overthinking, they hesitate, they lose momentum. This is why the most successful people operate in stealth mode. They build quietly, they grow in private, they make moves without an audience. Because they understand that real progress happens behind the scenes, away from distractions, away from opinions, away from the noise. So the next time you feel the urge to announce your plans, pause. Ask yourself, does this person truly support me? Do they understand my vision? Will their opinion add value? Or will it create doubt? Because the moment you stop seeking validation, the moment you stop explaining yourself, the moment you focus purely on action, that's when you become unstoppable. And when the time is right, when your work is undeniable, when success is so loud that it can't be ignored, that's when the world will finally see what you've been building. Until then, protect your dreams, move in silence, and let your results speak for themselves. Part 6. The Strength in Patience. We live in a world obsessed with instant success. People want fast money, quick fame, overnight transformations. They want results without the process, rewards without the effort, success without the struggle. But the truth? Anything worth having takes time. Patience is a lost art. In a culture that glorifies speed, we forget that the strongest things in life are built slowly. A tree does not grow tall overnight. A masterpiece is not painted in a day. A legacy is not built in a month. Think about the most successful people in history. Did Jeff Bezos become a billionaire overnight? No. He started Amazon in a garage and went years without making a profit. Did Michael Jordan become the greatest basketball player of all time in one season? No. He was cut from his high school team, spent years refining his game, and became legendary through relentless patience and practice. Did Warren Buffett build his fortune by chasing fast money? No. His entire philosophy is based on the power of long-term thinking. He invests, waits, and allows time to do the heavy lifting. Patience is not just waiting. Patience is discipline. It's the ability to keep going, to keep showing up, to keep putting in the work, even when there's no immediate reward. It's trusting that the process is working, even when you can't see the results yet. Look at the Chinese bamboo tree. This tree takes 5 years to break through the soil. For years, there is no visible progress. You water it, you take care of it, but nothing seems to happen. Most people would give up, assuming it's not working. But underground, something powerful is happening. The tree is developing deep, strong roots, And then, in just 6 weeks, it explodes upwards, growing 90 feet. That's how success works. You might not see the progress at first, but if you stay consistent, if you keep putting in the work, one day, everything will skyrocket. Most people fail because they lack patience. They quit too soon. They expect immediate results. And when things don't happen fast enough, they give up. They switch paths, abandon their goals, or settle for mediocrity because they don't trust the process. But the strongest, most successful people? They understand that patience is power. They don't rush because they know that anything built too fast is built weak. Imagine two people building a house. One is impatient, trying to finish as quickly as possible. They skip steps, lay a weak foundation, and throw up walls in record time. The other takes their time. They make sure the foundation is solid. They check every detail. It takes longer, but when the storm comes, which house is still standing? The same applies to business, relationships, skill building, everything. Rushing weakens. Patience strengthens. Look at Elon Musk. He didn't create Tesla overnight. It took years of failures, setbacks, and relentless patience before Tesla became the electric vehicle giant it is today. If he had quit after his first failure, or even his 10th, the world would never have seen the innovation he brought. And this isn't just about business. This is about life. The strongest relationships are not rushed. The greatest athletes train for years before they win. The deepest wisdom comes from time and experience. Patience separates those who achieve from those who quit. So the next time you feel like giving up because things aren't happening fast enough, remember the bamboo tree. Remember that the roots are growing, even if you can't see them. Most people never make it because they only work when they see results. The ones who succeed, they work even when nothing seems to be happening, because they know something always is. The real test is not how fast you can achieve something. The real test is whether you can stay committed long enough to let success catch up to you. And when it finally does, that's when the world sees what patience can create. Everything we've talked about in this video leads to one undeniable truth: silence is power. Patience is strength, and control over yourself is the ultimate advantage. When you embrace silence, you stop reacting emotionally. You stop wasting energy on people who drain you. You start seeing through facades, recognizing real opportunities, and understanding who truly deserves your time. You gain clarity on what really matters, not what's urgent, not what's loud, but what's important. The people who talk the most often achieve the least. The ones who chase validation, who explain themselves endlessly, who feel the need to prove their worth. They burn out. They lose focus. They weaken their own position. But the ones who move in silence, who work relentlessly behind the scenes, who let their results speak instead of their words, those are the people who win. Think about the most powerful figures in history. They weren't the ones making the most noise. They were the ones making the smartest moves. They were the ones who strategized, who observed, who executed when the time was right. Silence isn't just about not speaking. It's about choosing when to speak. It's about understanding the weight of your words and using them wisely. It's about knowing that the strongest message is often delivered without saying a word at all. So, let go of the need to explain. Let go of the need to prove yourself to people who were never meant to understand you. Let go of the impulse to react to every challenge, to answer every doubt, to chase recognition. Because real power doesn't demand attention, it commands respect. The person who shouts the loudest might get noticed first. But the person who moves with quiet confidence, who lets their actions speak, who allows their success to do the talking, that's the person people remember. That's the person who builds real influence, real impact, real wealth, and real success. This is your wake-up call. Stay silent. Stay patient. Stay powerful. Stop chasing. Start becoming. Stop explaining. Start executing. Stop talking. Start winning. And watch as everything you desire, success, respect, wealth, opportunities, begins to flow to you naturally. If this message resonated with you, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who needs to stop chasing, stop explaining, and start stepping into their power. And if you're ready to embrace this mindset, to commit to patience, strategy, and silent execution, let me know in the comments. Because this isn't just motivation. This is a way of life. Thank you for watching. Thank you for investing in your mindset, in your future, and in your success. Keep moving in silence. Keep mastering your craft, and remember, your results will speak louder than any words ever could. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay limitless.